TipTut.
Hello everybody and welcome back to TipTut. Today we are in our sketchbooks and we're taking a look at how to create this kind of inked slashed letter effect. It's very simple to do as long as you've got the right head on your shoulders. For example, I do not because I missed out colouring in this little blob here. This is based on something that I found online on Instagram. I try and find the original artist again but couldn't. So if you know who did this originally, please let me know. But without any further ado, we're going to jump right into a new letter. I'm going to do the letter A for this one. So really the first step is just to draw out your standard letter by itself in however format or font you ever want that to do it in. I've chosen quite an unusual blocky one here. Now I found this works really well if you've got sort of one major slash going through the image and then some minor ones as well. So I think the first major slash would look very good if it kind of just went straight through the middle. Now maybe 45 degrees would work quite well for you. But I think this slash is going to work if it goes and cuts the A basically in two. So quite a major slash through that first one. You may then want to block out a couple of your other large slashes. But then really after this, the best way is to just eyeball it a little bit. So you can see here, all of these extra little splashes coming out and all these tiny ones, they've kind of just been put in around the two major slashes here and here. So let's just take a look at that then. First thing you're going to need to do is realize that at every point where a slash would come through this, it's going to push your material, your ink, one way. So if a slash were to come in like so, it would push this material in and it would spit it out a little bit here where there's this gap. Okay, so maybe we could have a join coming through like this. That's going to spit out down here. Nice big glob on the end. And it's probably going to stretch out a little bit like that as well. Basically, the main principle is wherever something comes out, it has to go in at the other side. So even if you wanted to bring it out this side too, is if you're going to be slashing it in, there's going to cause a disturbance or a rippulance up there too. Okay, so maybe this comes across like that, stretched like we said, which means we can remove this portion of the A and just sort of bring those two together. Now this is obviously going to be completely gone along here, which means this portion is going to be slashed through. So we might as well just link those two together, bring this all the way down and have him splash out that side. Okay, let's have this one be a nice long blob. And it's just a case of going through and rippling the edges of your letter in accordance to where you want these splash zones to enter and exit. So it's as if somebody's physically whipping themselves through the letter. Now the larger one's obviously going to need larger repercussions. Okay, so this one might be quite a large exit wound here. And if you're trying to maintain the volume of your letter, then that's a good thing. So for example, if there's a huge amount missing, there should be a large portion missing here because the liquid that's made up this A is physically moved. You're not just adding or subtracting from the total volume of your letter. You're trying to keep the volume of it consistent whilst indicating that it's been moved around physically in space. Rather than this slash coming through and it feels like there's an extra bit of the A that if it were whole, it would be sort of malformed a little bit. And that's really what you don't want. Or you may want that. I just think it doesn't look as effective. Okay, so it's a nice idea maybe to cut off some of the corners here. Like so. Just a nice quick whip through there. And like so. So just continuing round until you come to a point where you're relatively happy with what it is that you set up. Now, don't worry about being 100% accurate because, of course, we're going to ink this in a moment. And when you ink things, you'll have an opportunity to change it. Okay. So just trying to be proactive and thinking about your shapes rather than just splashing them all on there. Like so. Okay. Let's maybe fix this bit with a little bit of a splash here. And that should be it. Now it's looking a bit bland over in this corner, so we've got to think about our visual weighting so we can even up the weight of our letter. And I think that should probably do it if we had just one final splash up here, like so. That's made it pretty even, I think. So we're probably going to jump right in and ink this now. So pretty much finished the inking process, the sketching process, sorry, and it is now time to ink. Now this last one we did in black, but it can be in any color that you want. I'm probably going to pick a different one. Maybe this time red would be a bit too provocative. Maybe we can go for a nice royal blue or purple. Let's go for this nice dark purple that we've got here. That should look pretty good. Pop that out, and of course you can do 2 colors if you want. This time around, I am just going to stick with 1 though. Now this is a case of just being confident with your lines and choosing 1 out of the points where you may have sketched in quite a few. For example, this sort of thick area down here, there's a few bits where I kind of just roughly indicated where those lines are going to go. And now I have to be confident in choosing the line that I do want to keep. So I'm going to start with the boldest part of the image here. And I'm just going to very confidently, very smoothly, just start to ink this in a little bit. Okay, it's important to draw if you can. I can't really in this situation because of the filming setup, but move your elbow rather than your wrist when drawing these lines. That will help keep the overall edges of them smoother rather than wobbly. Now, of course, because this is meant to be like an inked shape, wobbly isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you want the wobbles to appear at the points where you've chosen them to appear, not because of a mistake that your hand has made whilst inking. You want the wobbles to be a conscious decision in your design. There, for example. Now, like I said earlier, you can take this as the opportunity to perhaps add in extra elements that you didn't sketch in, or to modify elements that you're no longer happy with once you've inked. For example, you may think that this little section here needs to be slightly larger, the pull on this ink section to be slightly thinner. I think that's a good idea, seeing as I just thought of it. So I'm going to do that. It's okay to change your mind at this point, as long as you don't change your mind after you've inked, because then it's too late. So let's just grab these extra little portions here. Now I feel like this portion of the A isn't quite thick enough here to compensate for the amount that's missing, so perhaps I can add in just a few little streams, like so, coming out of the A. Do another one here, another few quick circles. Now the key with this design is keeping all of them at a sort of similar angle, no matter how long you've been, no matter how long, that doesn't make sense, no matter what angle you've been going at, sorry, I just looked at the time of the video and realized I've been going for a while. No matter the angle at which you entered, and no matter how much wobble you put in, the same general direction is needed. Unless, of course, you're changing the direction for dramatic effect. Do whatever you want, but make sure you do what you do on purpose. Make sure it's not through apathy or just general mistakes that you're changing the direction of these lines. You're going to want them to be fairly similar in their direction, because the energy here and the interest of the image comes from the power, not the variation in direction this time around. So just continue to ink these. And there, for example, I made a little bit of a mistake, but that's okay, luckily, because we're going to be colouring it in. I kind of ducked in there without meaning to. So I just can compensate that for that with the rest of my lines around that particular mistake. And of course, once you erase the sketch, no one's going to be able to see what it was anyway. So it really doesn't matter, as long as it doesn't look bad. Like so. Okay, I think I'm fairly happy with that. I'm just going to erase the pencil once this dries, and we'll come back. Okay, so I've just changed the camera angle a little bit here in order to get a bit of a closer look at our ink work that we finished. I'm pretty happy with this. I think it's going to look quite good. Now, because I don't have a big brush pen on me and I've only got a little pen here, the colouring is going to take a while. So I'm actually going to time lapse through that. And what I'm also going to do is, where I realise there's any parts which are very thick, not only because I've got a thin pen, but because I think it's going to make it look a bit better, I'm going to come through on these larger blocks here, and I'm just going to draw some chunks that I think should be removed from that particular portion of the image. So something like this maybe, just to break up some of those larger areas and some of those more bigger chunks that are going to start to affect the overall image once it's colored in, because here they might look fine, but in the colored finished drawing they might be a bit overwhelming and throw off the balance of the image a little bit. So for this coloring, because it is literally just me coloring it in, I'm going to time lapse through this and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, and that is it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. We have made our finished ink splash effect letter. Quite a simple tutorial, this one, really. It's not much of a tutorial, more of an explanation on my thought processes behind how and when to draw the splashes, but hopefully you got something out of it. Let me know if you want more of this hand-drawn sort of stuff. I've got the setup to film it now, so if you do want more, that's great, because I enjoy doing them. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all next time on TipTut.
Remember to subscribe for more tips, tricks, and tutorials. Thanks for watching.